Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 355 based on novel. So let's start. Black clouds covered the sky and tore up the sunlight as rain fell from the sky. The rustling rain fell on the roofs, on the street, and on every pedestrian walking on the street. Inside the houses, residents could clearly hear the rain land on their roofs. The rain flowed down along the edges of the roofs, forming curtains. The branches of leaves hanging from the doors rustled with the rain as the rain flowed down and became one with the rain curtains. The earth seemed to have been dry for a very long time. As the raindrops fell, large amounts of dust came with them, but before the dust could be kicked up high, it was immediately knocked back down by rain falling, becoming part of the mud puddle. Pedestrians quickly moved through the rain wearing rain cloaks, with their heads lowered. Even though it was raining, it was daytime, so they still had to work. Some children crawled along the windows and reached for the rain while laughing. Their laughter traveled far in the rain. This rain was falling because of Wang Lin. Wang Lin pushed open the door of the house and felt the damp air blow into his face. It was very refreshing. He looked up at the rain that fell the sky and the roaring thunder from the clouds. At first the thunder sounded far away, but the sound quickly closed in until a big boom went off next to his ears. It scared some children and they no longer dared to be near the windows. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he picked up the wine jug and took a drink. He smiled as he looked at the familiar mortal life before him. The children especially remind him of the past. Once upon a time on planet Suzaku, he also crawled on the window and extended his hand out to let the rain fall into his hand while he screamed cheerfully. It has been almost 2,000 years. Cultivators don't know time, and not many can remember their age. I can't remember how old I am. Wang Lin took another sip of the wine and felt melancholy. The cold air was very strong as it fell on Wang Lin's body. He silently pondered for a moment, and when he was about to close the door, his expression changed and he slowly looked up at the sky. The sky was still covered in dark clouds and the rain blocked the view. Naturally, none of this affected Wang Lin, and he saw two swords flying in the clear sky above the dark clouds. There was a man and a woman on the flying swords. The man wore blue and was very handsome. His cultivation level wasn't low, around Nirvana Scryer. The woman was graceful and wore phoenix-colored clothes. She was very beautiful and gave off the aura of a noble. Below them were the dark clouds. From their location looking down, they could clearly see the lightning moving within the clouds and hear the rumbling thunder. Yu Xian, the clan has called for an urgent meeting. Your cultivation level isn't high enough, so don't be brave. The woman looked at the man gently and whispered, I'll listen to you. I wonder what happened for the elders to send out this urgent call. This is very rare. The man had a serious expression. He also had the same doubts in his heart and was about to speak when he suddenly looked into the distance. His arm blocked the woman and they stopped in the air. A ray of black light flew across the black clouds. The black wind was originally going in the same direction as the two of them, but once it detected them, it changed its direction toward them. It only took a moment for the black wind to close in, and a young man in black appeared. He had an indifferent gaze and silently looked at the woman named Yu Xian. The pupils of the man blocking the woman shrank and he clasped his hands. Greetings, Brother Ju. The woman revealed a gentle smile and softly said, Little sister greets Big Brother Ju. The young name named Ju had a complicated expression as he withdrew his gaze and looked at the man in blue. He coldly said, The Scatter Thunder clan has been destroyed. Their head elder has been defeated and is missing. This has all been confirmed by the Sovereign Council. They sent the ancient star system order to tell all the clans. This urgent call is to get the announcement from the Sovereign Council. The Sovereign Council's Grandmaster Yun Luo used the Great Divination spell to find the appearance and origin soul imprint of the person who destroyed the Scatter Thunder clan. The ancient star system kill order has been sent out. This matter is so great, I fear even the likes of us have to go search. Even this cultivation planet must be carefully searched. Take care of yourselves. What? The expression of the man named Yu changed greatly and disbelief filled his eyes. The woman beside him was also shocked. The Scatter Thunder clan's head elder was rumored to be at 5th Heaven's Blight and couldn't be defeated by anyone but 3rd step cultivators. Unless the perpetrator is a 3rd step cultivator. Also, the Scatter Thunder clan had hundreds of thousands of people with many powerful cultivators. How could they be wiped out? The Scatter Thunder clan also has the eternal thunderbolt that has existed since ancient times. This matter. The young man in black was going to leave but turned around and coldly said, "This is unconfirmed, but the Sovereign Council said that the eternal thunderbolt was devoured by that person. At the moment, the entire ancient star system is searching. The Sovereign Council sent out an elder looking for this person." Under the clouds where the rain fell, Wang Lin slowly withdrew his gaze. His eyes were calm as he sat down and looked to the side. There were flashes in his eyes and he murmured, "I have been found out so quickly. The Sovereign Council. I have to refine that last ancient thunder dragon as soon as possible and then fuse with the eternal thunderbolt." Wang Lin silently pondered as he closed his eyes. The monstrous flame in his origin soul was refining the last ancient thunder dragon. As time slowly passed, the rain outside became heavier and heavier. The dark clouds covered the city, causing the outside to be very dark. Even when it was noon, no sunlight penetrated the clouds. After refining for half a day, the ancient thunder dragon wasn't able to resist Wang Lin's fire anymore. It let out a miserable scream before it collapsed and was absorbed by Wang Lin's origin soul. At this moment, all 8 ancient thunder dragons had been devoured by Wang Lin and had become part of him. At this instant, his origin soul grew like crazy. The fire dissipated and was replaced by endless thunder. The thunder essence began to grow like crazy at an earth-shattering rate. Wang Lin's origin soul slowly changed from the shape of an ancient thunder dragon to a bolt of thunder. A bolt of thunder that connected the heavens and earth. Wang Lin's head was the heavens and his feet were the earth. This bolt of thunder was now the same as the one the Scatter Thunder clan had, eternal. The moment this bolt of thunder formed completely, the clouds outside rumbled and even more rain fell. The thunder seemed to have gone crazy and rumbled violently. The entire cultivation planet could hear the shocking thunder coming out from the cloud. In the Imperial City, there were several old men in a towering pavilion. Almost all of them were at the Nirvana Cleanser stage, and one of them was at the Nirvana Shatterer stage. As they all stood inside the pavilion, they looked at the clouds churning and listened to the rumbling thunder. They all revealed strange gazes. This rain came a bit too suddenly. The thunder also seems a bit too violent, but even our combined divine senses didn't find anything. One of the old men said, "Perhaps we are just too worried." Alas, even a large clan like the Scatter Thunder clan has been destroyed and their head elder killed. Looking at the thunder before me, I can't help but feel something is wrong, but perhaps I'm just thinking too much. The Nirvana Shatterer old man shook his head and stopped talking. It doesn't matter who that person is. Since the ancient star system kill order has been given, as long as his whereabouts are found, he will without a doubt die. There was a large mountain range in the eastern part of the planet. This was where the Xinjiang clan was located. Different from the Scatter Thunder clan, the Xinjiang clan was only a small sect and only occupied a single cultivation planet, much like the sects in the inner realm. At this moment, inside the Xinjiang clan, there was a person with white hair standing on top of the mountain. He looked very old and he stared into the distance. After a long time, he whispered, "Why do I feel like a calamity is about to strike?" Wang Lin knew that time was of the essence. After devouring the 8 ancient thunder dragons, he released the eternal thunderbolt. The moment it was released, it was about to break free from Wang Lin's body. However, just as it was about to move, Wang Lin's origin soul, which had become a bolt of thunder, rushed at the eternal thunderbolt and began devouring like crazy. The eternal thunderbolt struggled like crazy. There was a will inside the eternal thunderbolt much like the soul of a cultivator, and it began a struggle to the death with Wang Lin. "Fuse with me and become part of my thunder essence. Allow my thunder essence to reach completion, and along with the accompanying forms of thunder, increase my cultivation level." Wang Lin's divine sense swept forth like a storm and tore up all the resistance the eternal thunderbolt put up. Dao spell. Fuse. Wang Lin's right eye lit up and the two different thunder essences in his eyes began to rotate. His eyes gave off a demonic feel. The wind rumbled, thunder roared, and rain fell violently on the earth. A thick veil of rain formed in the city and ripples spread across the city. This rain was very fast and seemed to have no end as it constantly fell. Fortunately, the streets had shallow waterways that led most of the rain out of the city like rivers flowing into the ocean. An entire day of time was lost in this rain. When night arrived, it was not as lively as the night before. People stayed inside their homes and didn't go out. It was impossible to see the clouds at night, but the lightning that occasionally lit up the sky revealed the world to everyone. There was cold wind mixed in with the rain. The cold wind howled, causing the rain to fall at an angle. The branches of wet leaves hanging before every door began to shake violently. Some were not tied well enough and the ropes snapped. They began flying in the wind like lonely boats in the violent ocean. Some were thrown into the sky, where they circled in the air and disappeared into the darkness. Some fell to the ground and landed in the muddy water. They tried to fly again with the wind, but then a muddy boot crushed them, pushing them back into the mud. They would never break free again. Thunder began to roar at this moment, and the lightning lit up the city. During this brief moment, one could see an old man wearing a daoist robe standing in the middle of the street with his hands behind his back and his eyes glowing like torches. He was still standing on a leaf with his right foot. Half of the leaf was still struggling in the muddy water as the wind blew. There was a strange mark between his eyebrows. Behind him were 7 middle-aged cultivators, their gazes cold. With a wave of his hand, the 7 people immediately surrounded the old man, and their hands formed seals. A faint light came from each of them and formed lightning-like threads connected to the old man's body. This formed an image that looked the same as the tattoo between the old man's eyebrows. The old man became the center and 7 rays of light shot out of his body. The old man closed his eyes and suddenly reopened them a moment later. The moment he opened his eyes, the light from his clan mark began to spread out like a fan. At the same time, the light from the 7 people around him glowed brightly and gathered inside the old man's body, causing the light from his clan mark to shine even brighter. As the light from his clan mark swept by the houses, the old man's gaze suddenly changed. These old and shabby houses suddenly looked like they were brand new and then, in another instant, they were in ruins. Not only was the time of the houses reversing, even the mortals in the houses became younger. Soon, they dissipated one by one as if they had never appeared in his world. Some people that had lived here and died long ago seemed to have resurrected. Their lives played out before the old man. Wang Lin was still sitting inside the house. The devouring of the eternal thunderbolt inside his origin soul had reached the critical moment. The eternal thunderbolt contained a will that was struggling frantically and was letting out thunderous roars, much like the thunder outside. However, no matter how it tried to break free, it couldn't break out of Wang Lin's body. After Wang Lin's origin soul had devoured the 8 ancient thunder dragons, it had turned into a bolt of thunder. It was like 2 bolts of eternal thunder were battling each other at the beginning of time. Only one could remain, only one could become the true king of thunder. However, just at this moment, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes, and they started shining. His expression was calm as he waved his hand and everything inside the house began to distort like a mirror. It continued to distort until cracking sounds appeared and, finally, everything shattered. After doing this, Wang Lin closed his eyes and ignored the outside world. He once again went into cultivation and began the final step of devouring the eternal thunderbolt. In the rain, the old man in the daoist robe slowly looked across the houses. When his gaze passed Wang Lin's house, he didn't even bat an eye. He just saw a scholar disappear within the house and get replaced by a much livelier family. After a long time, the old man had scanned the entire western side of the city. After finding nothing, the old man calmly formed a seal, pointed to between his eyebrows, and let out a roar. The light from his clan mark became even brighter, and when the old man looked again, the city had disappeared. Time continued to reverse and an ancient battlefield appeared before the old man. 2 mortal armies fought, dyeing the earth dark red. The old man suddenly closed his eyes. The light from his clan mark dimmed until it returned to normal. The 7 cultivators around him also withdrew their marks. Now their faces were slightly pale. There is no cultivator hiding here, let's change to a different location. The old man waved his sleeves and jumped into the air through the dark clouds. As he flew into the distance, the 7 cultivators followed. Similar scenes not only happened in various cities, but also on many planets across the ancient star system. Once the ancient star system order was given, every clan had to obey, and they had begun a detailed search of every single cultivation planet and abandoned planet. The people of the ancient star system formed a giant net. Wang Lin's expression remained neutral and didn't change at all when they left. His eyes didn't even open. The roar of the eternal thunderbolt was getting weaker, and so was its struggle. With clouds still filling the sky, even now the rain didn't seem to lessen. Not even the night watchman appeared, and the only sound was the sound of rain falling. The 2 thunders inside Wang Lin's origin soul finally fused together. The eternal thunderbolt let out an unwilling roar before it was completely devoured by Wang Lin's origin soul. The moment the eternal thunderbolt was devoured, the will inside was refined by Wang Lin and became one with his origin soul. He felt his origin soul tremble, and his thunder essence was growing at an unimaginable speed. This growth was impossible to describe. Just the thunder essence had allowed Wang Lin's cultivation to break through the mid-stage of Nirvana Shatara and reach toward the late stage. As his thunder essence rumbled, Wang Lin's cultivation would instantly reach the late stage of Nirvana Shatara if he used his thunder. The power of essence, the fundamentals of all domains. Obtaining the essence meant that he had seen through all laws of thunder. There was no longer a domain cap on his cultivation, and this was unheard of. After devouring the will of the eternal thunderbolt, Wang Lin's mind rumbled. Memories flashed through his mind. These were the memories from the will, the memories of the eternal thunderbolt. The memories were broken due to the passage of time, so only 3 images appeared. The first image was of a collapse of a star system. The collapse spread across countless star domains and star fields, across an area far larger than both the inner and outer realms. This collapse was like the apocalypse. Within the collapse, countless creatures perished. Wang Lin saw cultivators in strange clothes, strange monsters, mosquito beasts the size of a planet, and he even saw a Ji Cheung with countless head. However, just as he was about to continue to look, a bolt of thunder seemed to frantically come from the void as if it was escaping something, and it flashed through the void. This was the first image. It was very short, but the shock it brought Wang Lin was huge. That flash was the eternal thunderbolt. However, it was countless times more powerful than when Wang Lin devoured it. In the second image, the thunderbolt swam in a person's hand. He was middle-aged and he had an indifferent gaze. There was a flower tattoo between his eyebrows. The flower had 7 petals representing the 7 colors. Unfortunately, this ancient void god thunderbolt will never return to what it was like in the past. Forget it, I'll just send you out and see what your luck is. The middle-aged man shook his head and waved his hand. The thunderbolt rumbled as it went down endlessly and disappeared. The third image's setting was on top of the Scatter Thunderclan's temple. There was a bolt of thunder that connected the heavens and earth. It was as if it had existed since the beginning of time and would remain eternal. There were 8 cultivators floating around this bolt of thunder. One of the 8 was an old man, and he had a thunder mark between his eyebrows. The other 7 all wore strange clothes that was made from an unknown substance. It looked like each of them was wearing a river. The person stood at the head, he was clearly the leader. Even the person of the Scatter Thunder clan looked at this person with respect and a hint of fear. There was a golden line around this person's body. Wang Lin felt that the golden line was extremely familiar. I didn't think he would be here. Unfortunate, unfortunate. The leader shook his head and turned around. The moment he turned around, a rumble echoed through Wang Lin's mind, his pupils shrank, and he was startled for a moment. He is. The image dissipated. However, the image of the person turning around while speaking lingered in Wang Lin's mind. It was like an imprint engraved in his mind. This person's appearance was unfamiliar to Wang Lin. He believed he had never seen that person before, but there was a 5-colored light flashing in his left thigh. Wang Lin was very familiar with this light. He could tell at a glance that it was the G realm. Five-colored G realm. Wang Lin had only seen the five-colored G realm once. It was a long time ago back on planet Suzaku. It belonged to Na Duo from the Five Elements planet. The moment Wang Lin saw the five-colored G realm, he had the inexplicable feeling that this five-colored G realm was the same as Na Duo's five-colored G realm. Meeting Na Duo had opened the door to the G realm for Wang Lin. Wang Lin had also found out that there wasn't just one type of G realm. Na Duo was one of the people that had hunted Sichu Nan and was healing as a mummy on planet Suzaku. Wang Lin had taken his bag of holding, and after Wang Lin got his revenge in Jiao, this person had caught up to him. Although the image had disappeared, Wang Lin's eyes shined. He seemed to have found a great secret. The golden light around the person should be the soul lasher. Combined with what the head elder said during our battle. Then there is Na Duo's five-colored G realm. Could it be that these mysterious cultivators didn't leave but headed to the inner realm? Due to some unknown reason, his five-colored G realm ended up in Na Duo's hands. Even the soul lasher was left behind on planet Suzaku. Na Duo must know a lot about this. Five Elements planet. Na Duo. As Wang Lin silently pondered, his eyes lit up. After a long time, he took a deep breath and put all of this aside. This was not the time to be thinking about this. At this moment, the thunder in Wang Lin's origin soul was several times stronger than before. It filled his body and formed a vortex that rumbled loudly as it rotated. Every time it rotated, it would cause every inch of Wang Lin's body to be filled with the power of thunder. At this moment, he was no longer a cultivator, but a bolt of thunder. A bolt of heaven-defying thunder. This cultivation went through a strange change at this moment. This kind of change had never happened before in the inner realm nor the outer realm. If he simply used this thunder power, he could break through from the mid-stage of Nirvana Shatara to the late stage. However, if didn't use thunder and instead used his own domain, fire, and origin energy, Wang Lin was still at the mid-stage of Nirvana Shatara. This was directly related to the fact he had five essences in his body. The rain outside the house continued to fall and lightning sometimes flash across the sky. Wang Lin stood up and held the broken raincoat in his hand. He put it on and walked out the door. The moment he opened the door, lightning arrived and lit up the dark street. The rain created a haze, making it impossible to see far. No light came from any of the houses, they were obviously already asleep. Occasionally, there would be cries of children being awakened by the sound of thunder but soon were coaxed back into sleep by their parents. The rustling rain set off ripples on the ground, which was littered with scattered leaves. Wang Lin stood at the door and looked at the sky that was lit up for a moment by the lightning. He then tightened the raincoat around him and walked out. There was no one else on the street beside Wang Lin. The only thing that accompanied him on this silent walk down the street, aside from the rain, was the wind. The connection between the western and northern parts of the city was always very lively. If the weather was good, even late at night, the brothels and casinos would always be very populated. However, under this heavy rain, this place had become quiet. Only the places that pretended to be restaurants still had light coming from them. Wang Lin slowly walked through the western side of the city and arrived outside a restaurant. There were only 2 or 3 people inside and the waiter had a sleepy gaze that made him look like he would fall asleep at any moment. Wang Lin walked into the restaurant and placed the wine jug before the waiter, making a soft sound. "Give me a jug of wine." When Wang Lin entered, he brought in some wind and rain. The man felt a chill and looked at Wang Lin. He grumbled before taking the wine jug off the table and walking into the back room. A short moment later, he put the wine jug before Wang Lin and lazily said, 3 mortal crystals. Wang Lin left the money and took a sip of the wine. The familiar, spicy feeling entered his throat and turned into heat in his stomach. This wine was very strong and suitable for when one was about to kill. Wang Lin liked it a lot. Holding the wine jug, he walked out of the restaurant. Thunder rumbled and lightning lit up the road before Wang Lin. He didn't go back to the western side of the city but walked toward the northern side. In the rainy night, he would sometimes drink a mouthful of wine. His pace wasn't fast, but every time he took a step, the rain seemed to pause for a moment. In the sky north of the capital, the old man in the daoist robe who had used the spell to search was leaving with a gloomy expression. The 7 others that followed him all looked tired. They had already searched many places tonight, but they had found nothing. Clearly the person that wiped out the Scatter Thunder clan wasn't here. Elder, large amounts of people have gathered in this star domain, but none of them have found anything. Perhaps that person isn't here. He may not be on this cultivation planet, but he must be in this star domain, the old man said gloomily as he walked through the air. The Sovereign Council's Grandmaster Yun Luo foresaw that this person would be in this star domain. It won't be long before he can pinpoint the planet. If we can find him before Grandmaster Yun Luo, we will surely. The old man's eyes lit up when he got to this point. However, just at this moment, thunder echoed across the air and lightning lit up the sky. At that moment, a figure wearing a raincoat and holding a wine jug walked over. He was too fast, so fast that no one saw him, so fast that none of the 7 people noticed him at all. This figure suddenly arrived 3 feet away from the old man in the daoist robe. The old man in the daoist robe's pupils shrank and his eyes filled with shock and fear. He didn't have time to do anything before the figure took a sip of the wine in his right hand and his left hand landed between the old man's eyebrows. In an instant, a thunderous rumble came from the sky. A portion of the old man's origin soul was ripped off and pushed out from his body. Just as this portion of origin soul left the old man's body, Wang Lin took a step forward. His left hand grabbed the origin soul that extended outward and then walked into the distance. At this moment, the thunder just ended and the sound was still echoing. Then lightning lit up the sky once more. The 7 cultivators hadn't noticed anything at all. Even the old man in the daoist robe was confused but soon recovered. It will surely be a great merit. The old man's expression was still gloomy, but he was deathly pale. It seemed he hadn't noticed anything or remembered the fear he felt. He took a step and continued to fly forward. As the lightning lit up the earth, the figure went further and further away from those 8 cultivators. In his hand was an origin soul that looked like the old man. The old man tried to call for help, but no sound came out. These 8 people only needed to turn around to see this, but they weren't aware at all and gradually left. Wang Lin took a sip of wine as he walked through the muddy water on the street of the western city and opened the door to his house. He was still holding an origin soul in his left hand, and the moment he entered, his left hand squeezed. The origin soul silently collapsed and all memories were extracted by Wang Lin. Wang Lin wouldn't carelessly risk killing the old man in the daoist robe, but he needed to know the current situation in the ancient star system. He had used his thunder to instantly cut off a portion of the old man's origin soul to search the old man's memory. It is indeed as I expected, the ancient star system has begun to search carefully. The Sovereign Council's Grandmaster Yun Luo. This person's spell was able to calculate my location. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. With this memory, he not only learned about the hunt the ancient star system had called for, but also the search net they had placed. While sneering, Wang Lin waved his hand and an origin soul appeared in his hand. This was the origin soul of the Scatter Thunder clan's head elder. His eyes were closed and he was on the brink of death. The other 5 accompanying types of thunder, aside from spiritual thunder, must be obtained through the origin soul of the head elder. When he used the 6 types of thunder, they didn't come from his body, he summoned them. Although they dissipated, they weren't destroyed and could be summoned again. Unfortunately, there are 9 types of thunder and it's not complete. I wonder if completing my thunder mark will allow me to cross the Heaven's Blight stages and reach the 3rd step as a thunder cultivator. Without hesitating, Wang Lin opened his mouth and inhaled. The head elder's origin soul entered Wang Lin's mouth as a stream of light. Thunder rumbled inside Wang Lin's origin soul as the head elder's origin soul was completely crushed. At this moment, Wang Lin's thunder origin soul moved. After devouring the head elder, his origin soul unexpectedly changed into the appearance of the head elder. His origin soul suddenly opened its eyes, and thunder flashed through them. Heavenly thunder, earth thunder, origin thunder, magnetic thunder, Tao thunder, and spiritual thunder. Appear for me. This video will end here.